All righty, we are live, guys. We are live. We are live. Let me just make sure my audio is good, and I'm streaming on Facebook group, and YouTube. You guys know the drill. It's been a few months, guys. It's been a few months. So I'm excited. Whenever I come back, I always have some things to share with you all, and today is no exception. So let me go ahead and just test my audio here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so audio sounding good. Let me know if I'm sounding, if you guys are picking up any background noise. I changed my setup here, so I'm in my new home office. So this is my first time streaming in my new place here. So let me go ahead and get this thing set up, and we will be on a roll, baby. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday night. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're tuning in right now, if you're catching the replay, thank you so much for catching the replay as well. I think this is going to be I think this is going to be a good one. I think this is going to be a good one right here. Main reason why I'm doing this is because I want to ensure that I'm always providing the most informative information to my community, and two, to make sure that you guys are not believing the hype. Guys, I've been doing this for 9 years, 8 years full time. So I'm about to enter in my 10th year in real estate. And I've seen things come and go. I've seen investors come and go. I've seen gurus come and go. I don't really like that term, but I've seen so many people come and go in this industry, and, other investors, all that stuff. There's a certain amount of hype. People need to start. They need to market their companies. They need to market their services and stuff. But to be honest, everything is just rebranded. It's just rebranded in the same package. All right. The last thing I'm going to do here is make sure. Okay, we're good. Thank you. Groups. Hey there. So I'm going to be communicating with you all in YouTube, also Facebook. So, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. If you guys have any questions, you already know the drill. This is going to be super interactive. Drop the questions. This is not pre-recorded. This is live. We're freestyling. I have a little presentation created on my little Miro board here, and I love visuals. Hope you guys love visuals as well. And yeah, let's go ahead and hop into it. I want to put my chat overlay here, so your chats will populate over here, guys, from time to time. Okay, sweet. Okay, guys. So what I'm going to cover today is my what I call my one deal a month funnel. I'm going to show you guys how to get a deal a month first and foremost. Okay, so don't think by any means what I'm showing you right now is essentially um, all I do. Right? This is a foundation. And what I found is that if you focus on this foundation, you get this right. This is very conservative. These numbers I'm about to show you are very conservative. And you could end up scaling just by duplicating this funnel. Guys, it is not rocket science. But the thing is that each step of the way, I am very mindful of the data I use. For one, when we talk about data, because people say that a lot. When we talk about data, we're talking about our lists, like actually the homeowner records that we're targeting, and we're talking about skip tracing. So when people talk about data in the real estate investment space, specifically wholesaling, that's what they're talking about, specifically real estate marketing. Okay. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure my audio is good on this end. Um, Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure my microphone over here is picking up on that microphone, not my what's it called? My MacBook microphone, because that'll be tragic. So yes, Yeti stereo microphone. Okay, let's get back to it, guys. So with that being said, guys, this funnel is by no means I'm just not doing one deal a month, but I focus on this and then I'm able to double based off of this data here. Now let's talk about this. I targeted 10,000 record list. I'm going to put some notes on it over here. Why do I target a 10,000 record list? Guys, because really at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, we're going to be looking at 1% lead rate for texting. Meaning, if we generate 100 leads with texting, I'm sorry, if we're targeting 100 records or 10,000 records, excuse me, with texting, it will yield 100 leads. Guys, you may say, well, in my market, I can get, twice as that. Okay, guys, awesome. I'm talking about averages. I've been tracking these metrics for years, and these are the averages. And guys, if you're a know-it-all as well, guys, don't hop in this chat. This is for people that actually want to learn. So I used to accommodate people that were like know-it-alls and would try to like educate me and stuff. We're not doing that here. I'm an expert in my field. When I go into your space, hey, teach me. But over here, I run this. So I'm just going to be a little bit cocky about it. I hope you guys are okay with it. And I won't lead you guys astray either with the information I'm providing. So 1% lead rates for texting, meaning we send off 10,000 records, or we have a 10,000 record list. More often than not, we're going to get 100 leads out of that. Okay. So when I do the math over here, I don't think you guys can see my calculator. Now you guys can't see my calculator. But I'm just going to do the math. 10,000 records times 0.1001. So yeah, 100 leads. 10,000 times point. So one. Guys, I failed algebra 2, if you guys didn't want to know that. So I'm over here trying to do the calculations. Yeah, so that's 100 leads. Now, with cold calling, guys, cold calling conversions are around 0.5%, meaning if we generate 50 leads, if we are calling a 10,000 record list, then we will generate 50 leads, right? Those are the numbers that I've found, and they've held true for years. For me, my partners, I do campaigns nationally. I do about 20 campaigns for myself, JV partners, clients over the country, probably every quarter. So I'm consistently monitoring these metrics. I've been doing this since 2017, really tracking my metrics around 2018, late 18, early 2019 for sure. So 1% lead rates for texting, 10,000 records texted in a month. So these are monthly stats right here. So 10,000 records texted in a month, you'll yield 100 leads. Cold calling conversions are around 0.5%, meaning if we are calling a list of 10,000 records, then we will generate 50 leads. So in total, what would that mean? If we have one texting manager and one cold caller, 150 leads will be generated with texting and cold calling. Now, guys, here's the thing. Your list does matter. And I'm going to just make some notes over here. Your list does matter. There's a balance between niche data and broad data. What do I mean by that? Niche probates, not tax delinquents, probates, pre-foreclosures, inherited data, homeowners. What I mean by this are finite lists. finite data sources, meaning if I go back 12 months, I'll be able to get maybe 1,000 records, which is already small, but you could do some damage with that. But between all these lists, I may be able to get 1,000, 2,000 records. And let's just say I close 5 deals and I made $100,000. Bravo. This is the fatal flaw investors make. They then want to go back to that same data set. But here's the thing. They'll end up repulling the same data, or they may be smart and say, well, I'll just pull the data from the last 5 months. And guess what? They were left with maybe 200 new records that populated, or 300 new records that populated in their market. And then they try to target that data. But guess what happens? Their conversions tank because they're basing their knowledge and they're basing their metrics off of, oh, I closed 5 deals with that data set. I should be able to close 5 more deals, when they are targeting only they're targeting maybe like a fraction of the total homeowners that they targeted when they first went in that market. That's really what contributes to beginner's luck. I don't believe in chance or luck, but when people say beginner's luck, that's usually what's happening. When I can go into a new market that somebody else has been in for months or years, and I have immediate success because I may target the most targeted data. I may go in there and target tax delinquents, out-of-state absentee owners who bought their homes 30 years ago, right? I may be able to pull a list of 3,000 homeowners with that criteria. And then I may close 5, 6, 7 deals. And I may not have to pull another list for 6 months. And then I go back and do it again. And guess what happens? I don't have the same results because I try to pull the same list, but I'm targeting duplicate data. And I'll skip down here and just tell you guys what some of the common mistakes and incorrect beliefs that investors make when it comes to marketing is that they think they could just target the same data over and over again. And where did I put that here? I have a lot of notes here, so bear with me, guys. Let me see here. I put that higher conversion rates, target fewer records. Okay. I'll get to it in a second, but essentially what I'm saying here is that you need to be able to target unique records every single month. So when we talk about this 10,000 record list, this 10,000 record list is different every month. It's different every month, guys. Some of you guys may say, well, can I recycle the list? Yeah, dude, you can. But you know what? You know what the issue is going to be is when you recycle that. I could sworn I actually put a note here for that. Oh, yeah. That's right. Here is where I put it. So the key is to ensure that you're targeting a unique, new, fresh list every single month. No recycling of data. This formula just won't work, guys. I've tried it. Now, you can say, well, maybe I can push it a little bit more. You can, but guys, at some point, you're going to need to get new data. I've also seen people target the same data and then just pull new records and put those new records on top of that data. And you can do that. But to be honest, guys, I like keeping it separate because really, you don't know if the previous records are converting and generating leads or the new records when it's all mixed in between. So you want to make sure you're tracking your KPIs so you actually know what's producing results. So you're not just guessing, well, I targeted this list and it worked well, and you have a hunch, but the data is really going to tell you specifically this tax delinquent out-of-state list performed better than this absentee tire landlord in-state list, right? So we don't go off of hunches here in my company and Build to Scale Real Estate, CC Garland Marketing as well. We do not do that. What we do in my company, we are keeping track of the KPIs per market, per list pool. We don't combine it all together, even per marketing channel. What do I mean by that? I have if I'm going to be tracking cold calling results, I'm going to have a sheet that just has the data for Memphis cold calling, absentee records. That's going to be on one row. If I target it halfway during the week, Memphis cold calling, Out of state records, that's going to be on a completely separate line. So I know what's actually performing. Guys, this is very important stuff here. As you can see, and I hope I'm not oversimplifying this, I've just been doing this a long time. And also, too, I have a very good way. I've been told I have a very great way of explaining things to people and simplifying these complex terms here. I hope I'm not oversimplifying this stuff. And if you guys have questions and it seems like I'm skipping over things, let me know and I will break it down and explain it. So I'm not trying to talk over anybody's head over here, right? But I've just been doing this so long, some things are just second nature to me now. So with that being said, all of these processes to get to this 10,000 record list, the processes involved in this, yeah, there are several steps. And there are several tools that I utilize that I've been using for years, going back to 2017, some of the same tools that I know would just produce the same results. This is why when somebody asks me, well, CC, there's this new list skip tracing company and I can get phone numbers for 3 cents each. You've got to check them out. No, guys, respectfully, no. If you ask me that, I'm just going to say no. Why? Because I know with my data set, I can predict these numbers every single month. And that's why I teach people. And that's why I do on my end and why my marketing campaigns work so well is that I optimize based off of what's working. I have a solid foundation and I may only change parts of my process here or there. And I'll tell you the parts of my process that I've actually changed in the last year. I switched from ZenCall or Ready Mode, so formerly ZenCall, which is now Ready Mode, to Batch Dialer. I was in flux for a few months there where I was using ZenCall for about 2 years, 2019 to 2021. Started to get poor results with that. And what do I mean when I say poor results with ZenCall? I want to be specific. I mean, whenever I uploaded a 10,000 record list, it ate those records up in a week, 2 weeks. That's no bueno. No bueno. I know for sure if I upload a 10,000 record list in any dialer, it should last for a month. And I should be able to put 2 cold callers on this list maximum. 1 cold caller can get it done, but yeah, 2 cold callers, that's totally fine. 5,000 records per cold caller is really the max. You don't want to put more than 5,000 records, or you don't want to put more than 2 cold callers on a 10,000 record list. Okay, you may be able to do 3, but that's another commonly held misconception. Oh, well, I'll just put more cold callers on the list. That's not how this works. You can't put 20 cold callers on a 10,000 record list. Don't ask me what the methodology, don't ask me the theory behind this or why it works. It just doesn't work. Just doesn't work, right? I don't try to get into all the details when it comes to that because really I would have to know how the dialers operate at that point. But just in our analysis, whenever we put more than 2 cold callers on a 10,000 record list over the course of a month, they end up cannibalizing themselves and going through the data too quickly. And to be honest, guys, I'd much rather, similar to direct mail, stagger out my list throughout the month rather than hitting it all in 1 or 2 weeks because moods change. I know when I hit people up on payday, like especially if it's in a military town or a very nice rental location where just a lot of conventional workers there, not a lot of entrepreneurs. Think your Midwest markets, very suburbs-based markets. Whenever I target homeowners in those markets, yeah, the first Monday or the first Friday of the month, listen, people are in the mood to talk. But you hit them on those off Fridays or off Mondays, they're hanging up the phone. So in theory, and this is another common misconception, and I'm just thinking of these things as I go here, and I hope it's okay if I freestyle with you guys. But another commonly held misconception is that, well, can I just target the same or all the homeowners in 1 week? So can I just blast through my data? Because these people are going to be targeted anyways, right? And again, guys, I don't know what the specific theory or psychology is behind this, rather, but to be honest, this just simply doesn't work. This does not, in theory. This sounds like it will work, but in practice, it doesn't. Right? It makes more sense to spread out your data over time than to blast it at once. Same thing with direct mail. Right? Stagger your campaigns and mail drops. It's just marketing, guys. Just marketing. Marketing best practices. Okay, so let me italicize that. I'm going to go back over here. I haven't looked at the comments in a moment, so let's see what we got here. All right, so all right, great, guys. All right, guys, we got 12 people here. Nice. Thank you, guys, for everybody who's joining. Yeah, so I'm going to start answering some of these comments here. And for some reason, I can't scroll down, so I'll just call them out here. All right, what is the best lead source and marketing channel? I will answer that in a moment. So just stick with me, Dave. Give me about 10 to 15 minutes, and I will get to that. Will I leave this recording up? Tiana, hey, great hearing from you, my friend. Absolutely, I will. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it will populate on YouTube right after this, okay? Or shortly after this. It'll also be on my Facebook channel, our Facebook profile as well, and the Build to Scale wholesaling group. If you guys are in that, get in that. Karitha, how you doing? How you doing? Hope everything's going great in Atlanta, my friend. All right, guys, Dave, man. Okay, Dave, you're thirsty for the list, my guy. I got you. Just hold on tight. I got you. I got you, okay? Hey, Steph, what's going on, my guy? Great hearing from you. Yogi, hey, what's going on, brother? Hope all is well. What's going on, my friend? Eviatar, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. And Winston. Yeah, man. So that's my thing, guys. I just want to make sure I'm providing the information to you guys in a very concise fashion without the BS. Again, I don't care if my audience stays at, I think I have 4,000 subs on YouTube. Guys, I do this business, right? But I have an insatiable need to communicate what I know. It's just, it's just inside of me. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just something metaphysical, spiritual, but I just like teaching. And I think that's why I like consulting as well. I like seeing those aha moments, and it may be the Leo in me as well. I like being in front of people, but yeah, man, I just like giving back, and it just makes me feel good too, guys. You guys are my friends. Most of the people that I rock with now, I connected with a lot of you guys over DMs recently, and if you guys got a DM from me, that was me messaging you. It wasn't like my assistant or anything like that. But yeah, it was me messaging you guys back personally just to connect with you guys. I fell out of touch with many of you guys over the last year. Personally, I was just going through some, just recharging, took a little sabbatical, but now I'm back at it, guys. I'm going to be dropping a lot of wisdom for you guys. Okay, and also AT groups. Hey, great to see you. Please explain why Bash is better than Ready Mode. So yeah, since I'm already on that, train of thought, let's go ahead and talk about why Bash is better than Ready Mode. Okay, so here's the thing. So open up my notes. Okay, so specifically Ready Mode. Here's the thing, guys. Don't want to sound like a broken record, excuse me. Interface sucks. on ready mode. It looks like it's from 2012. Not only the looks, I can get over that. It's not intuitive. And I don't even have an account up here. Maybe I can look in Google here and see what the ready mode interface looks like and just show you guys what that looks like versus the. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to do this. So check out the ready mode interface here. And from my understanding, it still looks like this. Let's see here. That's not it. Man, I wish I had screenshots, guys. This is an example of it. I mean, you could just sort of get the vibe of how that looks. It looks like it's from 2010, 2012. Again, I haven't used it in a while. Maybe they cleaned it up. Maybe it looks better. So it looks like it looks a little bit better, but I'll be honest, I had to switch because I was using them primarily for about 40 clients I was doing cold calling for. This was back in 2021. And they were having major issues when they started to hand off their tool to, they basically sold it and they rebranded it from ZenCall to Ready Mode. And number one, they were billing me for seats that I didn't have. And they did this multiple times. And it was very difficult to get my money back. And I'm not a stickler over here, guys, but when I'm running marketing campaigns, I run it on very specific margins. Excuse me. I run it on very specific margins here. So I need to make sure that I'm not going over a specific dollar amount for the dialer, and each campaign is standing on its own. And sometimes I do go in the hole with them. For instance, let's just say I'm not perfect. I do a campaign for somebody and it doesn't perform well, right? I'll make that right. I'll either add on another week or another month. Anybody who has worked with me, they know that's how I operate, okay? To make sure we're able to get these 100 records a month with these conversions in any market. But yeah, they were billing me for seats that I didn't have. And they billed me well in advance, and it was very difficult for me to get my money back. When I've last used them, the interface sucked. And also, too, this is the big thing here. The phone numbers. Ooh, two things. The DIDs, so your outbound numbers, were usually spam or marked as spam even before I bought them. And this is what I mean, guys. There's I don't want to oversimplify this because there are tiny things I do here or there that boost my campaign up. And to me, they're second nature, but it took me years to perfect these best practices. And it was after banging my head up against the wall and saying, man, why isn't this campaign not performing? And it would be something small that looked small, just something as small as checking the phone numbers for spam. So every morning, what I do now, even in batch dialer, and what I do before I start my cold calling campaigns in the morning, in batch, doesn't matter what I'm using, is I check them with No Moroba, and this is a free website. So this phone number, 843-704-3827, I guess this was a number that we use for outbound calling. It's an unknown caller. And when it says this, it's not a spam number. Now, if I go to any other ones, these might be spam numbers. No, that's unknown. I may not have many right now in my pipeline just because, yeah, I don't check the numbers. My team does. So I'm trying to see if there's any in my cache right now. Unknown. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So if it says this number is a robocaller, that means you have to replace that number immediately. Or what I've noticed in ready mode right? When you would purchase the numbers, even before you would purchase them, guys, the phone numbers, I found out that they were marked as spam. I'm actually going to check this number right here, 777-714. So I wonder if you guys can see my URL. Oh, you guys can't see my URL. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to share my entire screen with you guys here, because the URL is the important part here. So 777 714 7750. Sounds like a fictitious number. Okay, so it's an unknown caller. So whenever it says unknown caller, that means it's a it's not a spam number. But if you go to the front page, you got actually see the most recent callers, I believe. I love this thing here. There's another one called Caller ID Reputation that works just as well. But yeah, when you put it in the URL, it doesn't matter if you have dashes here or parentheses, it still will do the search. So I have my team do this every time they purchase phone numbers, and I say every morning, but about once or twice a week we check them. Okay, so it's not just like one thing, guys, and I think that's like a common misconception that people have, is they think, well, there's like this big issue that causes me to not utilize a certain tool, like super fraudulent issue. And it's not that. It's like a combination of issues, and they seem like they're small things, but these little things add up, right? So this could contribute to maybe like 30% of your campaign not performing well. All right, so that could, let's just say 20%. Okay, this can contribute to 20%. So it's not just like one thing. Okay, your interface, this can contribute to 10% of the campaign not performing well. And you may say, well, CC, what does the interface have to do with it? It has a lot to do with it, because it can be, it can affect employee efficiency and productivity. So if it takes me a week to just onboard a cold caller on ZenCall and then show them how to use it, ready mode, versus a day in batch, well, they're going to be way more efficient from the jump. And also, too, I may not have to support them in some areas. I found that I had to support them a lot, because guess what? My phone numbers were getting eaten up. And this is probably the smoking gun here. My actual, no kidding, phone number list, like seller list, skip trace list, was getting eaten up by the dollar. Like Pac-Man. You guys know what Pac-Man is. It basically, you will upload the list, and within a week, I would put 10,000 records in there. One cold caller, guys, it'll just blow through the data. That's not economical. And it would only generate maybe, what, 20 leads, if that? So what if I'm generating, so here's the thing. So what if it's costing me 12 cents per record? Let's just do a little experiment here. What if it's costing me 12 cents per record? I'm going to put my calculator up here. And every week I need to pull 10,000 records. Just being facetious here. And using an egregious example. So that'll be 40,000 records. Because that's how much my data costs. I'm at $4,800 just with data. I've spent this before, guys. There's a reason why I'm able to say these things with such conviction. I've done this before. You guys may look at this and be like, oh, that's stupid, but I've done this before. I'm very loyal to my data source. So let's just say it costs me 12 cents per record for the data that I'm getting, okay? Including pulling the records and skip tracing it. I'm at 4,800. And then let's just say I'm generating 20 leads per week to get to that, just to get to 80 records with cold calling. Okay. I'm at $4,800 just with data, plus another $250 for the dialer and phone numbers. Okay. So I'm at $5K. Again, this is a little bit of an exaggerated example, but go with me here. Versus if I am in an efficient dialer like batch dialer, and this 10,000 record list can last for a month, and the data is going to cost me 1,200 records, and I'm generating 25 leads per week, and the quality of leads are the same, I'm at 100 leads at that point. Now, I do need to adjust because I did say that so 2,500. I said I'm at a 0.5% conversion rate with cold calling. So let me adjust my numbers here. Excuse me. 2,500 times 0.005. So each week we're at 12.5 records times 4. So 50 leads with batch dialer, 50 leads with 50 leads with batch dialer, 50 leads with ZenCall. One is costing us $5,000 because it's eating through my records, and the other ones cost me $1,200. That's the kicker right there. That's why your dialer matters, guys. So to be honest, I do not have a affiliate link or anything. I'm not an affiliate for batch dialer or anything like that. I have one affiliate that I'm associated with, and that's Investor Fuse, and we'll talk about them in a moment. But I'm not. I don't have a lot of affiliates to these companies, guys, because I know a lot of them, these tech companies, they have an expiration date on them, and I want to be able to leave a company if it's not working. And I also want to make sure I'm truthful and honest to my community, like you guys who've been rocking with me for a while, or if you guys are new, welcome to the community here, the Build to Scale community. And I want to make sure you guys are actually able to get the information that you guys need. I'm not all flashy. I'm not in the glitz or glam. Guys, I'm using a freaking MacBook camera right now. My assistant said I need to upgrade my camera. I don't have time for all that. I just want to get on here, give you guys the information. I have a high quality microphone. Hope you guys are rocking with me with that. Let me get back to some of the questions here. Okay. Okay, so got you on that, AT groups. I hope I answered your question, my friend. Hope I answered your question. Okay, hey, CC, what do you use for data management? Hey, great question, Jermaine. And it was a great catching up with you over Messenger as well over the last week. So, hey, so for data management, here's the thing. I know there's a lot of different tools out there like REI Sift. There was another one. I'm forgetting the name now, but I actually think they went out of business or they don't offer that anymore. But REI Sift is like the main one where people do data management. Guys, I am very methodical with how I pull my list every single month, so I don't have to do keep track of my data in any sort of software. What I mean by that is I may target a certain amount of zip codes every month, and then certain criteria on that zip code from those zip codes. For instance, 10 zip codes in Charleston County. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, so on and so on, so forth and so on. Excuse me. I may target those records, those zip codes, and then I may target absentee with 10 years of ownership, 100K or less with the 100K or less as far as the purchase price. Absentee, half an acre or less lot size. And I know as soon as I finish those records, I can target that same criteria on 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, wherever I stop for the next month. That's how I keep track of my data. And since you guys asked, or since you asked, Jermaine, I'll show you what I mean here. And some of you guys have probably already gotten my zip code analysis sheet. If not, you can go to my website. It's free. So the same sheet that I'm going to be showing you guys here, it's available at buildtoscalerealestate.com. So buildtoscalerealestate.com is going to be where the sheet is. I use my zip code analysis sheet for data management. Okay. So let me actually use one where I have done the data, where I've done the analysis. Zip code analysis. And guys, I hope I'm not going going everywhere with you guys. I hope I'm not losing you guys here, but I really do think the questions really allow me to give you guys some practical application here, which is why I have notes prepared, but also too I'm cool with freestyling here. So if you guys are cool with it, I'm cool with it. And I'm going to get to all you guys' questions as well. All right, sweet. Okay, cool. All right, so guys, this is what I do. This is my zip code analysis sheet right here. I'm going to go ahead and hide this comment so you guys can see my whole sheet. And this is the master. So this has all 25,000 plus zip codes in the United States on it. This all came from Redfin. This data right here, this data came from census.gov. The density population came from census.gov, I believe, as well. This data right here came from EIG.org, the distress tier. At one point, I had about 50 rows on this sheet, and I custom built this sheet, and I've narrowed it down to basically the most statistically relevant fields here. So we're not looking at anything that's irrelevant or doesn't really allow us to make analytical decisions and strategic decisions going forward. Okay. If you see the green here, the green is from 2021 data, and then the red's from 2023. It's about time to update this, right? So I'll update this year. Really, from nothing really changes month after month as far as the order of the zip codes. That's why if you don't see me updating this stuff, it's really, I'm looking at the order of the zip codes, and over the course of the year, they'll change, but month to month, they won't, which is why I don't update this from like July, August to September. You can if you want, but I found that really what's more impactful is not necessarily the data in here, it's the order, right? So the data may change per month, but it will always be in the same order, most likely. Like this may change to 3 to 4, you know, it'll always be like the same data. This may always change to 4, 5. You know, this isn't going to change to 10 as far as the days on market. And then this one changed to like 3, right? It's not going to switch around like that. So anyway, let me not get too far ahead of myself. So for one particular zip code or one particular market, what I'll do is I'll take all of the counties for that market. Let's look at a larger market here, Baltimore, Maryland. And so in Baltimore, Maryland, we have 138 zip codes for this MSA. So I look at all the records in the MSA. And then what I'll do is I'll just say, hey, listen, I want to start by how many homes sold. Because I know the more homes sold, the more cash buyer activity there. That's why people may ask me, hey, well, Cece, why don't you have cash buyers here? Well, that question is already intrinsically answered by looking at the home sold. I'm not going to have 1.5 million, being facetious here. I'm not going to have 20 cash buyers in a market where there's 20 homes sold, where there's 4 homes sold, excuse me. So there's 4 homes sold in this code. I'm not going to have 20 cash buyers. It's low density. So I'm not even going to target here. This really, my bottom limit is looking at zip codes where there's at least 20 homes sold. All right. Now, does that mean I'm not going to target anything below that? No. But if I'm going to prioritize the zips I'm going to target, it's going to be the ones that have the most homes sold. But here's the kicker. I'm also not going to target zip codes that are super affluent. So the median sale price here is, all right, let's do the average. The average of all the medians. I like the average a little bit more. Average of all these medians is 423,000. Okay. 423,000. So half of that will be, half of that will be 211K, 211K. So I could, in theory, go up to maybe 200, 150K as far as the last sold price, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. But what I'm looking for are just the super affluent zip codes. So here's another thing. Somebody may ask me, well, Cece, how do you know the zip codes? How do I know if 600,000 is a good price to target? Is that too high? Well, guys, if you look at your market and the median sale prices in, say, Santa Barbara, California, are $1 million, 600,000 is actually not affluent. That's average. Now, I would say for the most part, in any typical investor market, you're going to be looking at 600,000 is going to be way too high. In this market, the median sale prices are 423. So I'll usually go up to like 150,000. And then that puts me at 573. So I'll probably put a cutoff of 600K here. Okay. So we're looking at all these zips here are now zips that I would qualify. But when I target my zips, I'm usually going to start at the top down. And so I'll just take these zips with no real particular emotion or affection attached to them and just take these, throw these in my list pulling tool. Let me use a different color. And then I'm going to see if I get up to 10,000 records. It may take me 6 zip codes. It may take me 7. It may take me 17 zip codes. But I'm going to highlight them, and then I'm going to pull those 10,000 records. And then after that, I'm going to skip trace them, upload them into my dialer, forget about this spreadsheet until next month. And then guess what I'm going to do next month? I'm going to go and say, okay, we stopped here. I use absentee high equity, 100,000 records, 100,000 as a median sale price or less. That list performed well. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run that same list to ensure I'm not targeting the same data. What I'm going to do is go here and I'm just going to go get more data. I'm going to color code it differently so I know this is month 2. So month 1, month 2. I'm going to forget about this sheet until the next month. Now, the further I go down, there's going to be fewer housing records per zip code, most likely. So, don't look at it negatively that you need to actually get more data, more zips to target more. You need more zips to get more homes, right? That's just going to be a fact of it, right? So this might be month 3, and then this might be month 4. And guess what, guys? I targeted. Let's just say I targeted the list target was absentee plus 100K median or last purchase price plus another filter I like. Let's do 15 years of ownership. Boom. And I know there's no overlap because I targeted the same criteria, but for different zips. So I don't have this issue where I'm like, oh, I don't want to re-skip trace the same stuff because you guys aren't being strategic and organizing your list pools correctly from the start. That's the issue. There's no need for me to do RI sift or hire some developer to go through all my data, guys. At that point, you just need to throw it away and start off with my method. It's a little bit tedious up front. And when people work with me and they want to learn this from me, we spend the first 2 weeks just learning this. And then I quiz them. I have homework for them to make sure they understand how to analyze their markets, for one, because not all these markets are created equally. Just because I have them down here does not mean I pull data in these markets, right? Specifically Tampa, Florida, right? Because the median sale price has just been too high. This was one of my better markets, but for the last several years, but you see the median sale price is just way too high. And then some of these zip codes, they're like a lot of $1 million zip codes. I mean, that's a few years ago it was what, 291K. It's decent, but then 418K. It's like insane. Not going to target that area. It's a little bit different for Baltimore because there's a lot of zip codes here for one in the MSA, and there's not really any $1 million zip codes. It's not like an overall affluent area, even though the median sale price is a little bit higher. So there's still some pockets here that you can target, but you also have more data that you can target as well, opposed to Tampa, where you have 128 zips, and then you have, I think we said like 140 here. And guys, guess what? This is how I'm able to target a market for an entire month, or not month, year. So guess what? After I go through all these months, I don't say, oh no, I can't target any more data. What's going to happen? Oh no, I'm out of data. What do I do? No. Only thing I do is say, okay, you know what? This one is a list that's performing really well. So whoever asked the question about what list I'm targeting, this list is performing really well. Owner occupants plus tax delinquent so it depends on how much data I'm getting from the tax delinquent pool. 50K median last purchase price plus 10 years of ownership. So if I can, what I'll do is I'll get owner occupants, because I'm already opening up my pool way further. In any market, you're probably only going to have maybe like 20,000 absentee records. So the ones that make sense to target with this criteria, really probably only 10%, 5-10% of the total housing units there. So a lot of people are targeting this data set, maybe not with the specific criteria, but essentially absentee tired landlords. So I've actually switched to owner occupants, but look, I've actually added more filters here to ensure that my owner occupants are more distressed, right? So this is basically a distressed owner occupant list. And guys, guess what? I'll do the same thing month one. And to be honest, I may target fewer zips, because with owner occupants, you have more data. So I may be able to get, well, this right here, this may be month one. And then this may be month two. The blue may be month two. And then this right here, maybe month three. And then these zips right here, maybe month four. You see? And then maybe month 5 right here. Guys, we're cooking now. We're just getting started over here. So I hope you guys aren't going to the club tonight, because I'm not. I'm hanging out with you guys. This is what I love doing. And this may be month 6. Excuse me. And guys, just so forth and so on. This is how you pull all unique data in a market without ever running out of data. So here's the thing, what a lot of investors get wrong here, and commonly held incorrect beliefs when it comes to marketing. Well, they try to recycle the same data. Well, let's see here. So they try to recycle the same data over and over and over again. And you're not going to be able to do this funnel by recycling data. Look at it like this, guys. I love coffee. I have my coffee right here. I'm going to take a sip. I love coffee. I use a Chemex. So once I make my coffee in the Chemex, do you think I reuse these grains? Guys, I could. I probably could get one more cup of coffee out of there. perhaps 2, but it's not going to taste nearly as strong or fresh whenever I make it with the fresh grains. So what do I do? I make them with the fresh grains. I grind them up. I go through my process. But once I make my coffee, guys, I throw away this filter. I throw away the used filter, and then guess what? I put in another one when I want another fresh cup of coffee. Hope you guys are getting my analogy here. It is literally the same thing when it comes to our investing. And I feel like I have to put this information out here because I talk to a lot of you guys. I have a lot of phone conversations with you guys, and I don't mind educating, but I'm having to debunk a lot of bad information out here with marketing. Guys, I'm not an expert at every single part of this real estate thing, and nor does every single part interest me. Really, the data part is what interests me. I'm a analytical introvert at heart, right? I like numbers. And 2, I realize that marketing is really the foundation. It does not matter how great of an acquisitions person you have. Doesn't matter how great of a cold calling team you have. It doesn't matter how many exit strategies you know how to do. Guys, if you don't have leads coming in your funnel, you don't have any. If you don't have any leads coming in every day, you don't have a business. And then what you're going to do is try to get really you're going to try to get really, really dialed in to make a lead work when you get a lead, because most of your leads honestly suck. So you're going to try to make leads work that really you should just be following up with or throwing away completely. Some of you guys are dealing with this right now at this very moment. You're suffering with lead generation, and then any lead that comes through, you're going to try to make it work. And you end up falling in love with the deal, and the deal ends up falling apart. And you're putting everything on that one deal. Seller backs out before closing, which has been happening a lot. To me, partners, everybody across the country, everybody's affected by it. Right? And you are encountering a lack of lead flow. So you're trying to squeeze and hold on to every opportunity that comes around. And you're just going to be, the more you squeeze on that opportunity, the more it's going to be slipping through your hands like sand. And I don't want that for you guys. And I've experienced this. Learn from my mistakes. I'm talking to you guys from a place of wisdom. You guys probably can't see my gray hairs, but I have enough gray hairs for each marketing campaign that failed where I've lost money. I'm laughing now because it's not an issue now, but yeah, there were some dark days, guys. There were some dark days. Let's look at our questions here. See if we have any questions. All right, guys. All right, guys. I love the questions. I love the questions here. Chat's dumbing. Chat's going crazy. So, Jermaine, hope I answered your question, my friend. Let me know in the chat if I did, okay? So, Michelle, hey, Michelle, I was just messaging you. So how are you training your callers? Do you work with them in training before you turn them loose on a list? Yeah, when using batch. Yes, absolutely. So this is why I love using Batch Dialer. Guys, I make my training as simple as possible for the lowest common denominator. Yes, there are probably better list pulling tools out there. There's probably better cold calling software systems. There's probably better. There's probably different tools that I can utilize and I can plug together with APIs, do all these live transfers and train my team on that. Guys, a lot of that stuff will end up have you bring on technical people just to sort out and patch these issues together whenever they fall apart. So my tool stack is very lean as a result of that. So what I'm saying here is that I keep things very lean, very simple, and I do not require my team members to learn complicated systems just to get started. So I do have a cold calling training that I take them through. So with our cold callers, it takes us about 24 hours to train them. All the people I hire all have prior cold calling experience. There used to be a time where I had to hire people and then train them from scratch, and it would take about 3 days. But now I'm looking for people with with cold calling experience, real estate experience, where I can just plug them in to how we do it here in CC Garland Marketing, Build to Scale Real Estate. Okay. That's what I'm doing now, because really they should just be able to come in and perform. And let me see if I can find my cold calling training here. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, sweet. So I'm not sure if this is the most updated training. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. This isn't our actual training that we're using now. This was just one that we've had. Like, I have several versions of these. But yeah, so my team, guys, conducts this. And this is another thing. I not only want my VAs to be able to come inside my business and actually start performing the second or third day I hire them, I also want VAs to be able to train VAs. That's really the biggest thing. Guys, CC Garland is not sitting here training VAs on the basics of cold calling in my company. They're not. They're not. I'm not, rather. What's happening is the training that I do is when I listen to the audits, I have all my cold callers on one call. We meet once a week, if needed, twice a week, and we're just auditing the calls. I'm randomly picking calls out of the batch dialer, the recordings, and I'm listening to them, and I'm calling people out. You know, one person may not get called out for a whole month, but I try to spread it out in a balanced fashion. But what I usually do is I use certain examples if I have an issue that's coming up over and over again, like let's just say we had an issue with the cold caller's microphones not working. Well, I'll use one cold caller's example recording as a seller saying, "Hey, I can't hear you. You need to turn up your microphone," as a moment to teach and just say, "Hey guys, we got to stay on top of this." And if I need to bonus you guys so you could buy your own microphone, I'll do that. Okay. But yeah, the biggest thing here is I step in to actually show them how to what's it called? I show them how to. I basically audit their calls and I deal with timely issues that are becoming an issue. But whenever it is no kidding, bring somebody in. You know, your cold caller 54 that we brought in this year. I don't even know their names half the times, guys, and that's how it should be. I have a system over here, right? I don't talk about it as much publicly. I am now, but guys, I've really been I do this, guys. I'm in the trenches over here, and I hope you guys could tell just from what I'm talking about. Like this is my life. This is my life. This is what I'm doing on Saturday. I love it. So yeah, we have a little training here that we do, and guys, a lot of this stuff may seem common sense, but we all want to make sure we're on the same page. I saw somebody ask in the chat. I'm going to get to that. What do I qualify a lead? What is a lead? And guys, we go over what that is, right? Down to the basics. We don't assume anybody knows. We don't assume anybody we bring in knows everything. We don't assume they know anything. Of course, they're going to know how to cold call, but we want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. So when they start dialing, there's no excuses for them to say, well, oh, I thought this lead was that, or I assume. We take all the assumptions out. So yes, we go over a little PowerPoint. We tell them what we're looking for whenever we are qualifying a lead, what's considered cold, warm, or hot. That's very important. And we give them examples of what these leads look like, as well as mock calls, not mock calls, actual live calls that we've done. Okay, and we give them examples of what these calls sound like. Okay, and then the halfway through the second day, they'll be onboarding onto the dialer, and then we'll start doing mock calls with them, where I may step in and I may conduct some of these calls and just quiz them just to make sure they know what they're doing. But at that point, guys, by the third day, they're dialing. That's how easy it should be. That's what your processes should look like. Guys, if you're having all these complicated systems where you're bringing them on board and they have to know how to, analyze a creative financing deal and ask the seller, oh, well, how many beds are there? Or, if it's a creative financing deal and there's 4.5 beds and it's 1760. Well, you need to know that this lead's going to go to a hedge fund, and you need to ask them when the last time they talked to a previous if they ever worked with a hedge fund before. Or you're asking them all these crazy questions. I can't even think of them because my mind doesn't even go that route. I don't even think like that anymore. But I hope you guys get what I'm saying here. I do not overwhelm my cold callers, guys. These are the equivalent of 15-year-olds working at McDonald's. Yes, McDonald's can make their process super complicated where they need somebody who has a darn near PhD to be able to run all of their systems. They could make it that complicated, but they would only maybe have one or two franchises. If yes, this isn't for the people that are not looking to scale, right? Feel free to leave. Feel free to unsubscribe from me, unfollow me on Facebook, whatever, guys. This is for the people that are looking to scale. Why am I emphasizing this? Because, guys, it's going to get to a point where you're not going to want to do this stuff. At some point, it was exciting for me to go into the dialers and, see the square root of X and see how many, see how many things I can troubleshoot at once. And, and I basically knew all these knowledge bases for all these dialers. At one point, that was cool for me. But now, like 9 years in, that's like not cool at all. Like, that's like, no, I don't want to be doing that. And it's going to get to a point, guys, where whether it's forced or voluntarily, you guys might find yourself in a situation where your company needs to run on autopilot because you're going through a very intense emotional situation. Say you get sick, say you're going through a divorce, say you're going through something where you have a death in the family. What are you going to do? Shut your company down? Guys, that's why we prepare for times of war and times of peace. That's what we said in the military. When I was in the Army, we prepare for times of peace, times of war, during times of peace. So we don't wait until there's an issue to start creating these processes. Usually that's what happens, right? That's why a lot of people are scrambling now. Guys, I've been about this. I've been talking about the same thing like for the last 6 years. Processes. And I've only changed certain parts of my process. Really, dialers, and that's it. I've been using the same server for my skip tracing since 2019. I've been using the same data source for my list pulling since 2017. The only thing I've changed has been the only thing I've changed, guys, has been my cold calling, right? So my cold calling dialer and InvestorFuse switched from Podio to a standalone system, but that wasn't something I changed. I went to use Filipino or Nicaraguans last year, but I went back to Filipino cold callers. I mean, outside of that, I've been building on top of the systems that you guys hear me talking about to this day. So I don't chase shiny objects. Let's see what else we have over here. So I hope that answered your question, Michelle. Just let me know if I did answer your question, okay? So, last piece I'll say about that too, guys, is that when it comes down to it, guys, I want you guys to listen to me here. Your employees learn the job by doing. You definitely set them up for success by giving them training, but they learn the job by actually sitting in the trenches, doing the job, and then guess what? Messing up. And you just correct them. And then I have my own standards as far as what I'm looking for as far as week 1, 2, 3, 4. Week 1, I'm just looking to see if my cold callers are showing up on time. Are you sitting in the pocket, right? Are you sitting in chat when I communicate with you? Are you messaging me back immediately or within 5 minutes? And if not, do you have a good excuse? Are you filling out your KPI sheet? Are you following their script? Are you sending an EOD and start of day reports? That's really what I'm looking for. And then the next week, what I'm looking for is if I provided any guidance on, hey, you need to work on this. Your microphone didn't sound great. If they didn't fix that, I'll give them 1 strike. Just mentally, it won't be like on a sheet I'm keeping track of. But if I see it's a recurring issue, they can't follow directions. I can't put more on their plate. A lot of you guys just want to have your employees drink water out of a hose without having any real clear onboarding for your people and supporting them. And then you want to put all the blame when something doesn't work on your employee. And that's the wrong answer. But we need to have standards and processes. We need to know what we're looking for in a cold caller. We need to know what the cold caller is going to do. Are they just going to qualify for information? Are they going to go into, if somebody looks like they're a creative financing offer, are they going to do that? Are they going to comp out the homes? If so, you need to support them and make sure you have no kidding training and support for them. But that's not what we have our cold callers do. $4 to $5 an hour cold callers just qualify. So Karitha asked, How are you defining a lead? For example, somebody who responds positively. This is a great question. And so what do I consider a lead? Let's go back to my sheet here, my little chart. So what do I consider a lead? Okay. So for cold calling, and I'll just preface with this. For cold calling and text messaging, we just want a warm body on the other side of the phone who displays one of the following. If they have multiple, fine, but just one of the following, right? Somebody who has timeline to sell within 12 months or less. Emotional distress. So let's just say somebody who has health issues, death in the family, or divorce, money problems. Okay. Oops. Man. 3. So we are also looking at somebody who has price under, I would say, at as is asking price, or under, I would say probably 90% of ARV or as is value. The key is, guys, we don't want our cold callers doing comps, because here's the thing, guys. We want them doing as little in-depth work as possible, because this formula isn't going to work if you start having them, have 20-minute conversations with somebody who may not be motivated. Their goal is volume. I'd much rather have higher quantity and lower quality conversations when it comes to my outbound marketing with this funnel, and then higher quality conversations and lower volume. The numbers just don't work in that favor. They're just not going to convert better. You can say, well, CC, here's one to miss. Well, can I just target probates or a really targeted list like pre-foreclosures? Can I just save money and target fewer records and I have higher conversion rates? Guys, yeah, you can. But what are you going to do after, you go through all that data? And guys, to be honest, you could be sitting in pocket to get your first deal and do that. That's fine. You could do driving for dollars, but that's why driving for dollars isn't scalable. It's not. At some point, you need to be able to bring other people on to do these things. You're going to be stuck at 2 deals to 3 deals a quarter. And then you're going to have this up and down process where our flow in your company, where you're going to have a lot of deals close, and then you're going to go through a 3 to 6 month or longer drought. And then you're going to get another list, and you're going to have this great idea and say, well, maybe I could target inherited homeowners now. Maybe I could get to them before they die because probates were a little bit too complicated to deal with. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. And guess what? You're going to have this high, and you're going to close 5 deals, and you're going to make $30K, $40K, $50K a deal. And you may make $100K per quarter. And then you're going to crash and burn again. It's up, down, up, down. That's why I call my business, my lead generation consultation company, my Facebook group, Build to Scale Real Estate, guys. There's a reason why I call it, because we're building companies to scale. This is where a lot of the investors who want to stay in the business get tripped up on. I would say 90% of the investors, not the new investors, but the ones that are really trying to make this work, fall in this category. And they want to jump from 1 to 2 deals a month to 10. But guys, it's levels. You have to understand these foundational principles first. Let's just get you 1 deal a month. I talked to a client earlier this year. and I'm not going to say her name, but great lady. She's in Kansas City. And she said, I said, hey, let's focus on getting you one deal a month. And she said, no, I want to get three. Let's just focus on this. Can we just focus on getting one deal consistently? Because we're at like none right now, a quarter. And then once we have this set up, we can double it. And you know what? We may be able to get 2 deals a month if we do this. These are just really conservative metrics right here. So we want to build this thing to scale right here. So I digress. But let's get back to what I consider a lead. Timeline to sell within 12 months or less. Emotional distress, health issues, death in the family, divorce, financial problems. Okay. Price under at 90% of ARV are the as is value. So they can go on Zillow and look at that. Now, if somebody's saying, oh, $1 million, that person's being sarcastic. Your VAs should know, they should have enough common sense, especially if they've cold called before for more than a day. They should know if somebody says $1 million sarcastically, it probably means they're not interested. And they should still try to qualify them and go through the script, but they should just know that that person probably isn't really qualified. So I'm trying to think of the things off the top of my head. Just give me a moment here. Timeline to sell, 12 months. If I remember any others, I will. But here's the overall point I want you to take away from this. Some type of motivation. All right. Not sarcastic and willing to answer the cold caller's questions. After this, the leads, honestly, guys, should be forwarded to your follow-up specialist or acquisitions manager. So your follow-up specialist or acquisitions manager, however you have it built in your company, guys, are required to dive deeper in this conversation, okay? So the cold caller is like a direct mail piece. I'm not devaluing cold callers, but the cold caller's job, guys, is just to get the information. When I did direct mail heavily, and I still do now, every now and again, the cold caller's job, guys, direct mail piece's job is just to gather information. It's just to make sure, it's just to get a response. I don't put in my mail piece, well, we can offer you, creative financing or novations, or we might list your property on the MLS, or we might get a specific power of attorney and help you out this way. No, it's broad marketing up top. And then as it gets further and further down the funnel, we focus on quality. So it's quantity up here, and then it's quality down here. So if you guys really want to focus on an area for like conversions, I would focus on more quality conversations here. My friends, really, your marketing, you shouldn't be overthinking it, is what I'm getting to here. Now, a lot of you guys will overthink it. I overthought it because I was trying to put all this together. And so, yeah, but you shouldn't be focused on probably like hitting the lottery when it comes to your marketing. I have made the mistake. I know a lot of investors make the mistake now of thinking, well, maybe if I just make this marketing tweak, I can get that $100,000 wholesale deal. Guys, you'll be chasing a shiny object your whole life. It took me a while to realize, oh, you know what? I just need to start doing volume, and I need to be okay with 10K assignment fees. Now my assignment fees are averaging 15K. Yeah, guys, I get probably once or twice a quarter, 30K, 40 pounder. Nice. But I'm not going to read to that and say, well, man, how did I get that $40,000 deal? Well, I got a $40,000 deal because that person was in between downsizing. They were 85 years old. They owned their house for 40 years. They were out of state, and then go and try to reverse my criteria based off of that. It was just a lucky draw. Awesome. But we're going to be able to run our company consistently and have a consistently scalable company rather by focusing on these foundations. It's a funnel, guys. It's a machine. Let's go back to our records here. So I hope I answered your question, Karitha. Please let me know, my friend. Awesome, guys. Hey, I love that you guys tune in. Thank you guys so much for everybody who's live, anybody who's watching a replay. Thank you for watching as well. So, okay, so we got you, Karitha, there. So, David, answer your question. Okay, awesome. You're welcome. Love the prayer emoji. Love it, love it, love it, guys. Not sure the context there, but I'm pretty sure I answered your question. All right, so Tiana asked, who do you use for skip tracing? So Tiana, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I have my own skip tracing company. I have my own data provider that I utilize. I source my own records. So if you need skip tracing, tap in with me. You can message me on Facebook or info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. I don't recommend anybody else's skip tracing. I just use my own. And I have a lot of people I skip trace with, and my costs are reasonable. So great. Yes, thanks. God bless you. You love it, guys. You love it. All right. So Andrew asks, hey, Andrew, do you use anything to email blast to cash buyers? Yeah. So I don't email blast to cash buyers. Some of the people I work with have their own high level REI reply accounts rather, and they email blast their list. I don't, guys. How I source my cash buyer list these days it's like this. I either use the power of attorney. That's really what I'm going towards. And if you guys haven't seen my training on that, it's on my YouTube channel and my Facebook profile. It's the most recent video as of this date, 3rd of August, 2024, that I have on my channel. But I use a power of attorney, and then I just list the home on the MLS. The power of attorney is notarized, and so that gives me access to be able to list it without the realtor contacting the homeowner, because it's basically like it's like I'm a friend, relative. So that's number one. If you don't have power of attorney on just a purchase contract, Facebook groups are really the hack. But I would say this: if you really want to be proactive, have a cash buyers list that you pulled from your list pulling tool of choice, skip trace it, and you should have a VA, guys, $5 hour VA, just hammering those cash buyers. And I have a cash buyer qualification form that I give to my VAs. And for each department in my company, just so you guys know like how I operate on this end, I have a training call for each of my department. So my cold calling team, we have a training every day, or every once a week at least. Acquisitions once a week, dispo team once a week, and my ops managers. So that's how we make sure we knock out all of our necessary issues, or just things that are becoming issues. That's how we knock out relevant issues on the call. I don't want to sound incoherent here. But yeah, this is my cash buyers form, qualification form. And what I do is I require my dispo managers, again, $5 an hour Filipino VAs, just to go through this training. And again, I have a 2-day onboarding for them, and they're just required in our REI reply account. It used to be CallRail, but we consolidate everything to REI reply now. Just go out and qualify 50 to 70 cash buyers a day. And if we get one solid one a day, right? Let's just say we get 5 qualified a day, but one is like really solid a day. Even one a week, guys, that's worth that person's time and paying them as well. Because that person that you have in that seat, it'll pay dividends. So you're not scrambling whenever you are, whenever you have a property under contract. Like the last thing I want to do is just upload an email list. I know you're not saying this, Andrew, but upload a texting list of realtors and cash buyers and blast them. It's never worked for me, and you're just going to tick a lot of people off. You want to have as much as you can pre-existing relationships with your cash buyers. And this is how you do it. And what I do is any zip code that I'm targeting, and this is why I like going through zip codes, guys, like actually targeting actually targeting these zip codes in my list pool. So I'm going to pull up my zip code analysis sheet here. This is why I go zip code by zip code, because let's just say I'm hammering this first month these zip codes: 21224, 230, 215, 234, 218, and 117 in Baltimore County and Baltimore City County. Let's just say I'm hammering these. I'll pull a cash buyer list just in these zips, and then my dispo manager will just qualify buyers in these zips, right? They're not just going to pull a whole cash buyer list all in Baltimore. We're being strategic here, guys. And again, these are just little things that I've improved on over the years, which is why I try to keep the big things the same. My tools for skip tracing, list pulling, my dialers as much as I can. I only change from batch dialer, from ready mode Zen call to batch dialer because it was a necessity. Because if I'm fiddling with the foundation, which I consider those are like foundational components of my business, of my marketing pyramid, I'm not able to focus on these like finer details here. That put me ahead of my competitors. Again, this isn't going to make or break whether or not I'm able to move a deal, but this will allow me, especially if I have a seller that's, not super motivated, but they decide to sign the contract. If I don't have my buyers in place at that point, when I get that property under contract, that seller may back out if that contract expires. And it's happened to me before. And it's always happened because I didn't have my buyers in that particular area. So that's what I do on that end. I used to do the whole email list thing, Andrew, but now I don't really do it. So I hope I answered your question. Just let me know. Awesome. So we love it. Real gems, no fluff. Too much of that out here. And guys, if you like the content, I know you probably want to keep me to yourself. But share it with a friend. That's all I ask. Just share it with a friend you like. Just one. You don't got to blast it out there, but if you like the content, just share it with a friend. If you don't, hey, and they don't have to be in your market. They could be in another market that you're not in. All right, so Dave Otto said, where do you get for tax delinquent? I have my own database for that. So that's something I used to talk about my data sources a lot publicly, guys, but not so much now. But yeah, so I have my own data source where I'm pulling my tax delinquents. Sweet. So let's Jermaine tuned in. Joel said, let's go, baby, let's go. So I'm guessing you go to the courthouse. Yeah, so I don't. So I've been working on my own data set, so I'm not dependent on any tools specifically or going to the courthouse. So I've actually am tapped into, man, I paid a lot for this particular data set that I'm using, but I have my own software behind the scenes that I'm utilizing, and it gets the data directly from the courthouses, from the county records. A lot of data people aren't able to get their hands on. I would say 30% of the data that I have, other people don't have, which is awesome. I've done the experiments with these other tools, but yeah, I don't have to go to the courthouse to get that data. Some of it I do, but those are lists I don't target, like probates, inherited, any sort of finite list where if you go back 12 months, like code violations, you target that data set. Let's just say you have 30,000 code violations. Cool. That lasts for 6 months. But then you go from, 6 months prior and you only have maybe, let's just say you have another 20,000 records, but over half of those are duplicates that were on that initial list of code violations. That's an issue. And you think you're pulling unique data, but you're not. A lot of those are duplicates once you scrub them, if you do. But if you upload them in your dialer, you may be like, oh, well, I have 20,000 more records that I got from the last 6 months since I last pulled that code violations list. And guess what, guys? At that point, your numbers will be off, and that funnel that I showed you guys will not work. So all that to say is that you want to target unique data and not these finite data sets like code violations and each list. You can, guys, if you're first starting, but I'm talking about scaling your business, right? I'm talking about scaling your business. I don't think anybody wants to sit here and mess around with Excel spreadsheets for the rest of their life. Again, when you first start, you got to do what you got to do, but I'm showing you guys what happens after you get that first deal or that second deal. this is what you do after that. Because I've had so many people come back to me and they were like, well, I closed my first deal. I just didn't know what to do. So they spent money on SEO, going to this coaching program, that coaching program, and they didn't know what to do. So you may be able to close deals, guys, but if you don't know how to spend your marketing dollars efficiently, then you're going to end up what I call fumbling the bag. And you're going to be right like where a beginner is, even if you've closed 6 or 7 deals. I've seen people start and stop so much in this business. So somebody also asked, what's a good platform to do small outbound SMS? REI Reply, guys. REI Reply, okay? That's what I use. All right, guys, we have a lot of questions here. I'm going to probably wrap this up in a little bit, guys. I don't want to hold you guys up for too long. If this is a good time, we could do this later as well, just in the evenings. But yeah, REI Reply is what I'm using for SMS. So how do you know if a list is performing? So this is a good question to reference here. So when I look at this, chart right here, this funnel, all right, what I'm looking for right here is essentially, well, I'm looking at this funnel right here. I'm looking at, I know this list will perform if I use batch dialer or any efficient dialer. This list will last for a whole month. So, but the things I'm looking for is if I know I have a fresh list with fresh phone numbers and I'm dialing it after, let's see, a week, and it goes from 1 to 2 leads a day, and then I go like 0, 0, 0, 0 leads a day, day after day after day after day. Guys, I know at that point I'm dealing with probably a poor list, maybe poor numbers, who knows? But there's a lot of factors that go into that. The quality of leads. So you need to talk to your cold calling team and just say, hey, what's the quality of leads, right? Are you getting people that are completely not interested? Because this, guys, is so many layers to this stuff. So if you're getting people that are completely not interested and they're saying, well, why are you calling me? Or like, I need to talk to my attorney, or I need to talk to my realtor, or they try to pawn you off on a realtor. Guys, that tells me right there that you're dialing probably an affluent market. So it's more, the question that I would ask is, what question are you trying to answer based off of the data and qualitative and quantitative data that you're receiving back? So for instance, if I know I have poor responses from my homeowners and I'm getting 1 to 2 leads a day, that tells me I'm really likely to be in a very, very affluent market. I might be in Tampa, Florida, where the median sale prices are $418K, and I have a lot of high-end zip codes over $1 million. Or maybe in Houston, where the Hispanic population is really high. I'm targeting the wrong demographic. So if I get a lot of people say, oh, well, I already flipped the house, and you can have it and it's completely new. If I'm doing sub twos or novations, great. But if I'm trying to get wholesale deals, that's an issue. So if I'm getting poor lead flow, right? If I'm only getting like 1 lead out of the gate, or let's just say, yeah, if I'm getting poor leads right off the gate, it could be an issue with my phone numbers. I might need to check those for spam. You see, it's not, there's a lot of different factors. And again, I don't want to oversimplify my chart that I have here, but this is what I call troubleshooting. When one issue arises, you may think that you're answering the issue. You're trying to answer the issue and put blame on an area that doesn't need to be placed blame, right? Oh, well, some people may say, well, these cold callers suck. Okay, well, what list did you give them? When was the last time you pulled the list? Oh, I pulled my list, 12 months ago. Okay, and you gave that cold calling company to dial your list. Are these cold callers a dead list? What do you want them to do? Be David Copperfield? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So there's a lot of factors and a lot of different lens that we have to look at our marketing campaigns through to determine whether or not our list is performing well. No, that's not the best answer, but it's much more layer than it's much more layer than that. And you can hit me up on separately on DMs, and we could talk about that too, Jermaine, if you want, or schedule a call. All right, sweet. So AT Groups asks, please explain why you went back to using Pinoy views as opposed to Nicaraguans. Okay, great question. Why did I start using Filipinos again opposed to Nicaraguans and South Americans? Guys, it's culture. I'm just comfortable with the culture. I like non-drama VAs, and I'm not knocking anybody here, but that uses Nicaraguans or anything like that. But South Americans are too close to Americans. I just like the work ethic in the Philippines. I like that they follow directions. Again, there's exceptions to the rules, but I like that they just show up on time. They get the job done. They follow directions, and they're just like, hey, whatever you need, I'll do it, and I'll follow directions. And it's not any pushback. Again, guys, if you don't have your system squared away with, then you might invite that. Well, I want that input. And you may be the type of person to say, well, I want my VAs to give me input because you don't know what you're doing. I used to be like that. When I didn't know what I was doing, I would try to hire employees or partner with people to compensate for the areas that I was unsure of. Guys, your employees are looking to you for guidance. They're looking to you for information. They're looking for you for all the next steps, right? You can ask their input, but you're the ultimate business owner here. So guys, that's why I went back to Filipinos. It's as simple as that, guys. I just like the culture. I like that they just get the job done. And yeah. And on top of that too, guys, they have about a 5-year head start over any other nationality when it comes to real estate investing. You'll find that a lot of them know how to use these tools that we use, these common tools like Batchiler, REI Reply, call tools, Zen mode, Zen call, ready mode. They know how to do all that already, and I don't have to reinvent the wheel over here. Sweet. Okay, sweet. So Jermaine asked, how deep do you have cold callers qualify the seller? I think I went over this, but I'll just say this again. Not too deep, guys. It's literally just figuring out what the motivation is, and if that person either has a timeline to sell within 12 months, emotional distress, their price is 90% of ARV. It's not like the home's worth $300K and they want $500K. It's nothing like that. And some type of motivation. It doesn't have to be all of these. It's or, right? Or, not and. So super important. Or, not and. So it doesn't have to be all these. It's or. Now, when you get to this point here, where you're focusing on the conversations, then you may say, well, you know what? We need them at 80% of ARV, or we need them at 70% of ARV, or 50% of ARV, right? But I think too many people, guys, you try to do too much at this top of funnel. It's called a funnel for a reason. Guys, let's look at an assembly line. I love my analogies, guys. So notice in the assembly line, each part of this manufacturing company or this manufacturing assembly, that's a little bit messy. Let me see if I can do a better example. Yeah, guys, so in an assembly line, each part of the assembly line is responsible for doing something different. Each one of these little robotic arms here, if you can see these, are responsible for a different part of the process, right? So, this robotic arm right here isn't in this first stage or third or fourth stage, wherever it is in the process, isn't going to try to put the whole car together. That's what you guys are trying to do, guys. Even if you're a solopreneur and doing this yourself, you still want to look at your business as if it's an assembly line. You still want to be mindful as what seat you're sitting in, because it's going to make it a lot easier to start handing off these tasks when it's time, and also ensure that you're staying in the high level task as well, and you're not getting bogged down in the minutia of the business. Okay. So That's I think that answers that question there. Okay, and last question here, guys. I'm gonna hop off. So appreciate you doing this live tonight. Does the 12 months time frame umbrella over allowing a seller not fully motivated to sell, but has interest to stay in rotation and following up before you disqualify? Okay, so let me make sure I'm understanding this properly. Oh yeah. So okay, so yeah, so if they want to sell within 12 months, that's top of funnel. So if they want to sell within 12 months, guys, I would consider that person a lead. I would consider that person a lead. And guys, they stay in the pipeline. So that lead might stay in my pipeline in my CRM for years. So just because they say they want to sell in 12 months, and let's just say they're like, hey, I'm not interested in selling after you qualify them, you don't throw it away. You just put them on a follow-up. I may put them on a follow-up for like 3, 4, 5 months. Follow up, guys. That's really is going to how we are going to get these deals closed. I think 50%, or it takes 50 points of contact whenever I did an analysis in my company to get a property under contract. That's your phone call, text, email. We're not really emailing homeowners, but if we had the email, we would do that. Trying to get them on the call, them picking up, them not picking up, right? Text message after the lead's qualified in order to get them under contract. So 50 points of contact. So it's really important to realize that. We're not trying to do too much at each one of these stages. And I know this is for cold calling, excuse me, but for our lead follow-up, our acquisitions pipeline, we have a funnel just like this. And I may actually go through, excuse me, guys, I may actually do a live on that as well at some point. Okay. But we're not trying to, take too much of a chunk out of these leads at once. We got to put the seller through a process here because honestly, we're building rapport. We want them to get comfortable with us, which is why I do this as well. So we're not really trying to one call close these guys. We may close them within a day, but they may have talked to us 12 times or had 12 points of contact through email, getting the contract, talk to the cold caller, talk to our follow-up specialist, talk to the owner, talk to me. And then within a day or two, they sign. But, there's always levels and there are always steps. But after they become a lead, guys, unless they threaten to sue you or they want to, they tell you, hey, take me off your list. Really, even if they pass away, but I mean, I would just say they tell you to take you off your list. They'll tell you to take them off your list, or the home sold, or they're threatening litigation. Those will be the only 3 reasons really why I would remove the homeowner from my CRM. Okay. Other than that, they're just going to be, it's just a matter of when I follow up with them, not if. And I think that's another reason why investors fail. They try to just only get these leads that are super. Guys, if I was only focused on leads that wanted 50% of ARV, I wouldn't have any type of pipeline. We're stacking that pipeline because, guys, I may talk to somebody and they may not be interested. And tomorrow, they may fall down the stairs and they may get diagnosed with cancer. And then they're like, hey, I need to sell. Or they may have a loved one pass away. That's why we follow up, because we really don't know when these changes of life are going to happen. That's why we have these plus leads that we're generating every month, right? Or more. And then we're following up with them with a full-time follow-up specialist, $5 an hour VA, to see if their change of life situation, or if they had any change of life situation. Guys, they're not going to remember to call us during their most desperate hour. They're going to get called by other people, and that person is going to be able to benefit from the right time. But we put luck in our favor by following up with these homeowners over time, just to see every 3 or 4 months, something may change. We don't know, but that's why you have to be consistent on follow-up. A lead that looks cold today, guys, may be hot next month, 2 months from now, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. But we don't want to disqualify people or have really strict qualification filters up top because they're not qualified now. That's the wrong answer. Okay. So that's us looking at the business like a business, not like a, not like a hustle. Okay, guys. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. One last thing I would say is if you do want to work with me, I'm going to just drop a link here because I have had a lot of you guys hit me up just with wanting to do texting campaigns and whatnot. So I do texting, I do cold calling campaigns. You can hop on the forum there. I'll put it in the comments on YouTube and Facebook as well. But yeah, if you guys want to work with me, I will put that in the link. If you guys have any other questions, just let me know. But right now, I'm taking on a lot of people to do cold calling campaigns. Okay, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. I hope you guys have a great evening. And yeah, guys, let's do this again. It was so great meeting with all you guys.